Hello, and welcome to this webinar regarding the different versions of Google G Suite. Session today is hosted by Refractive in conjunction with G Suite Tips. My name is Sean Power, and I'm one of the business development managers here at Refractive. I'll be hosting the session today. We have a range of information sources available, which we'll provide access to in an email after the event today. We'll try and cover as much as we can in the session. You'll also get a recording of the session today to share with your colleagues, or if you wish to review it later at your leisure. So this is the agenda for today's session. We will review some of the core services available as part of G Suite, and then show which services are available in which version. This will be done in a relatively high level in this session, but as I mentioned before, we'll provide some resources which outline the differences in more detail, so you can review when you need to. Sorry, just bear with me. I don't think I'm actually sharing my screen. There, that should be coming through. So we have a question box in the upper right-hand corner. So if you've got any questions as we progress through the session, then just pop a question into there and we'll answer those. We'll try to answer those during the session today, but any that we don't have time for, we'll come back to and we'll answer after the session. It's scheduled for 30 minutes today, so we've got plenty to get through, so I'll make a start. So these are the core services available with every version of G Suite, and whether that's for the business, education, or non-profit sector. So I'll run through these in sections just so we can see them in action. So starting with the basics, we have email and calendar. All versions provide similar services in this area, although some of the more advanced versions offer different security services connected with email in particular. The next section of core documents is documents. This is core services. So Drive acts as a cloud-based document storage service, and incorporated with that we have docs, sheets, slides, and forms. And these offer an alternative to the Microsoft Office document formats. The two services, the Google and Microsoft services, are increasingly working in conjunction with each other. And there were some very interesting announcements at the recent Google Next event in this area, just making it easier for users to work with both document types within Drive and elsewhere within G Suite. The next section of core services coming up, we have two products which offer community discussions amongst other things. So there is Currents, which is the new name for Google Plus, and Google Groups. So as you may be aware, Google Plus is transitioning from a public network to one which is in use for inside your domain only. And this really was a space it has occupied for some time and what its strengths are. So Google is now doubling down on this service to provide internal discussion groups and community groups for your users. Alongside that, Google Groups offers a number of services, including shared inboxes, distribution lists, discussion lists, etc. So the two work hand in hand together. So next section that we have probably the most confusing a section of G Suite. This is the video conferencing and chat messages. So you remember we used to have Google Hangouts. Well, Hangouts is still around, but we're gradually transitioning over to Google Meet. And Google Meet offers both a video conferencing service and it offers a chat message. So similar to Slack and other services which you may have seen. So as I mentioned, Hangouts is becoming Meet and becoming more and more functional. Finally, we have Google Sites, which allows you to create simple websites and portals, and Google Classroom, which is a virtual learning environment. And this started in the education package alone, but is now available to all G Suite users. So corporate users can share training courses and materials with their employees, just as they can within the education space. So all these services are available as core functions within all the G Suite editions. So now we take a look at the various versions of G Suite, and we'll highlight some of the features of each of these. I'll begin with the 4 versions of G Suite which are available for the corporate or the private sector, so i.e. not education or non-profit. So starting at the lowest version in terms of functionality and cost, we have G Suite Lite, which not everybody may be available or known to. This is not well known within G Suite, and it's only available to those G Suite users with high numbers of users, of licenses. It was previously called the Deskless Edition, which you may have heard about, and it's intended for light users who perhaps work remotely away from an office. It offers just 15 gigabytes of storage space for all G Suite data. That's email, documents, and photos, the sites, etc. And that's non-Google documents in particular. But it does include all the core services mentioned on the previous slide. So it's still a powerful service. As with the other versions, it is possible for you to have a partial domain license arrangement where you have different versions for different groups of users. Now, there are some particular rules in this case which apply. So contact us if you've got any questions and we'll check eligibility and the options available to you. So the next version in the range is G Suite Basic. And this was the original G Suite license, and it's been around for over 12 years or so. And it's still the most popular version. It has all the features that you may need to run your business, but without the additional functionality available in the more advanced versions. It has a storage limit of 30 gigabytes per user. And as you may know, that storage cannot be pulled between users. So that's an individual storage. So this is probably enough for most users, but you may need to add additional storage to some users on your domain who store large amounts of non-Google documents, such as emails, photos, anything else that's non-Google related. So still a powerful version, but limited in functionality compared to some others. Now we get up to something really interesting, which is G Suite Business. And now we're adding lots of functionality to those core services. It's available or provides a number of features not available in Lite or Basic. And some of these include Team Drives, which you may have heard about. So Team Drives offers centralized storage of documents. So instead of me as an individual user owning the documents that I create, I've got the choice to donate them to a team for the team to manage on my behalf. So this is really useful in environments where there is a lot of movement of staff, either in or out of the business or from team to team. So it just means that individuals don't own documents, teams own those documents. And that works really well, particularly for large organizations, or I said organizations where there's lots of movement. Also included in G Suite Business is Google Vault, and that's an archive and an e-discovery tool for your email and document data. So this shouldn't really be confused with a backup and recovery service, because it's not, but it offers a deep search and quarantine functions and is typically used in cases of fraud or HR matters, or in the case of EU-based organizations for GDPR subject access requests. The data collected and quarantined is admissible in court if needed, if a case gets that far. Also available in the business version is a product called Cloud Search. And this offers a way for users to search all their G Suite data and now other third-party data as well from one location. So a search for a particular word or a term will find references across all G Suite services, whether that's emails, documents, calendar events, chats, etc. So Cloud Search is a really powerful search for all your G Suite data, and it can really be thought of as having your own google.com search engine for your corporate data. And recently, as I mentioned, Google have extended its functionality. So now you can search not just Google data, but also your third-party or other applications data. So again, it becomes a viable hub for searching information across your whole organization. Another advantage of the business version is that you can specify where your G Suite data is held. So previously, when G Suite users, wherever they were based in the world, their G Suite data was based all over the Google ecosystem and throughout their data network. But now you can actually specify which region you want your data to be held. So this is useful for organizations based in the EU, as it may help to comply with local regulations over data residency. And it's also sometimes used just to satisfy your internal data security requirements, or indeed those of individual industries which you operate in. So again, a very powerful function. You also get with Business App Maker, and this is a low-code environment for creating business processes using the G Suite services. And it's essentially a front end to a scripting tool called Google Apps Script, which you may have heard about. And this allows developers to perform very clever and sophisticated workflows and processes directly from G Suite data. An app maker essentially allows users to take control of this process and create those processes themselves, which again just alleviates the workload from IT and development teams down to users. Very powerful feature is App Maker, and it's a welcome addition to the G Suite range. So I've highlighted some of the improvements. You can see the other things which are available within business, and apart from those which I mentioned, there are a number of enhanced security features, and they enable users of the business platform to secure the data of the users essentially. And they provide better control over your users and over their data to keep things more secure. So you see there's quite a big jump up in functionality from the G Suite Basic to G Suite Business, and that comes with an associated cost. Okay, the next version within the range is G Suite Enterprise, and this is the final and most comprehensive corporate version of G Suite. It contains all the features available with the business version, along with some great enhancements, particularly in the area of security. So first of all, there's a data loss prevention function for both email messages and documents. And this allows administrators to create rules which prevent users from sharing sensitive information, such as bank account numbers, social security details, anything else associated with that via email or documents. Now, in the earlier versions of G Suite and Basic and Business, you did get some of this functionality in those versions, but Enterprise takes it to a new level and offers very detailed and highly secure DLP functions to assist in the prevention of costly data leaks. So if a user tries to send some of your customer data via email or attached to a document which they share externally, the DLP functions of Enterprise will prevent that from happening. And that may be credit card information, maybe national insurance numbers or social security numbers, or indeed just corporate data that you want to keep secret. So that's a really, really interesting addition to the G Suite range. There's also a high level of email message encryption available with Enterprise, which offers greater data security again over the basic and the business versions. And another main feature of Enterprise is the beefing up really of the Meet product. Remember, this is the replacement to Hangout, which you may have access to. So this allows video conferencing, and it includes the ability to record meetings to Google Drive. So this is a great boon for anybody who takes the time to record meetings using things like screen capture software or anything like that. Now it's all done natively, held within Drive. And of course, with Enterprise, you've got unlimited data storage, so you can just store as many meetings as you may wish. Another thing which is included on the Enterprise version, again on the security side, is the Security Center. So this is one place for you to go to see all security incidents across all your G Suite users. Administrators create rules, and they manage the policies, and also security recommendations are provided by the Security Center based on your actual data and your usage, and in particular your users' usage of G Suite. So what data they are creating, what data they are sharing is more monitored within the security center. And this can save a whole heap of time for your administration team. And this is really because it provides a high level of data security without requiring excessive time to manage the process, which is vital in today's corporate world. So those are the four corporate versions. We've got Lite, we've got Basic, we've got Business, and we've got Enterprise. And I'll move on to Education now, because there are some similarities between those. So the base level of education is called G Suite for Education, and it's broadly equivalent to the basic corporate edition with one or two exceptions, which I can point out. So firstly, unlike basic, you get unlimited storage, and that's provided for all users. And the reason Google have done that is really because there's quite a lot of data created within an education, or within the education of a user throughout their life. So particularly video content, documents and images, etc., can now all be stored without fear of running out of storage space for either students or for staff members or faculty. Within education, or G Suite for Education, you also get Google Vault, and that's provided as standard. And again, that's provided for all users, the students, staff and faculty members. So again, useful. And there are also two accreditations relevant to the education sector, which Google has the badges for. Firstly, the COPPA, which is the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, and this regulates the online collection of personal information about children under 13 years of age, and also FERPA, Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, which protects the privacy of student educational records. So obviously these are relevant to the education sector, and that's why Google has got those badges. So G Suite for Education is a base version in the education sector. Stepping up to the next level in education is G Suite Enterprise for Education. And this includes many of the features available in the corporate enterprise version. Things like team drives, where you've got centralized storage of documents, security center for advanced reporting and monitoring of policies. You've also got the enhanced meet functions, live streaming, recorded meetings, up to 100 participants, etc. And again, cloud search. So again, very useful in education to be able to search across all applications. So there is clearly a cost to this enterprise education version. The basic education is free for all users, but there is a cost to this one. But the advantages it brings are many and well worth the extra expense for education establishments. Okay, so moving on from education, we have a couple of more sectors to look at. G Suite for non-profits. So G Suite for non-profits is available to all non-profit organizations free of charge. It's essentially the equivalent of G Suite Basic. So we're down to no Google Vault, no team drives, limited Meet functionality, 30 gigabytes of storage, etc. It's available in limited countries at the moment. There's a list of 52, so a lot of countries and users are covered. We've got a link which we'll send to you to see if you are eligible for a non-profit in your territory. Now, non-profit organizations can upgrade from the basic version to either the business or enterprise corporate versions if they wish, and that's usually to take advantage of the enhanced features available within these editions. So that's G Suite for non-profit. It is quite simple. Moving on, there are a couple of honorable mentions that I'd like to point out. So these are other products in the G Suite range which you may either be using now or you may have come across in the past. The G Suite for Teams version, it's very similar to G Suite Business, but without the email and calendar services. So it's got unlimited storage, team drives, Google Vault, some enhanced Meet, up to 50 participants, etc. But it doesn't have the enhanced or advanced features of Enterprise. So why would you like this one? Why would you use this version and not the normal business version? Well, it's really useful if you have a deployed and well-entrenched email service within your environment and you don't want to change, but you do want to take advantage of the advanced collaboration features available with G Suite, particularly on the document side. So you're basically saying, I'll have G Suite Business, but please don't give me emails or calendars. I'll use my existing service for that. By existing service, we're usually talking either on-premise Outlook or Office 365. So Business Lite is similar to the Lite version that we discussed earlier, but again, it's based on the business version. So you get Vault, unlimited storage, team drives, etc. And again, it's only available in certain circumstances for large numbers of users. So we can check availability if this is something you want to discuss. And then finally, we have the government edition. So this is based on G Suite Basic for government departments, normally in the US, that's where it started, but it is available outside. And it's got some additional certifications such as FedRAMP and compliance with HIPAA, etc. So you may come across those if you work in those sectors, and particularly the government sector. Okay, so we've covered quite a lot of ground. There's lots of different versions of G Suite. It used to be very simple when it first launched as Google Apps, because literally there was one version, and now it's changing. So we've been through what's included within each version, but probably more important than that is a question of which version is most suitable for your organization. So we believe that there are several factors which will determine what is the correct version for you. Some of these are shown here on the screen. So for instance, if your data protection stance dictates that your G Suite data must reside within a certain territory, then moving up either from basic to either business or enterprise would be advisable because it covers that requirement. And similarly, if you are subject to GDPR and feel that subject access requests are either too difficult or time consuming, as many of us do, then you should consider the business or enterprise editions, which include this version and includes Vault, which covers the functionality needed to handle those requests. So we have some tools available which help you select the features that you want and then help give a recommendation really as to the most appropriate G Suite edition for you. What we haven't done is consider the commercials, because clearly the commercials and the cost of the licenses and the editions that you use will have an impact on your decision, but we can cover those off if you need to. So those are the deciding factors for the corporate editions, and essentially it's very similar for the education editions. There are some major factors which will help you to dictate whether the basic education or enterprise for education editions are right for you. And again, the residency of data does have a part in this decision, but also to consider are the enhanced security features available within the education enterprise version, and also the meet features available within this version. So again, look at your requirements, look at the functionality available within each of their versions, and that'll help you make a decision as to which version was best for you. Okay, so as I said, we've covered quite a lot of ground there fairly quickly. Hopefully it's given you a good idea of which G Suite version is right for your organization. And that may change over time. And also you may need a mix of licenses for different users and different groups within your organization. We've kind of run out of time. And we don't have any outstanding questions, which is good. So we'll send an email after the event with a copy of this recording and also links to some of the additional sources of information that I've mentioned over the course of the session today. If there is any thing that crops up, any questions that you have, then feel free to either reply to the email that we send to you, bob onto gsuitetips.com, have a look on there and contact us through that channel, and we'll be happy to help you. We can help advise which section is right for you, which versions you should be looking at, how do you upgrade, whether the services, etc., are of interest. So this is, we can certainly help you through that method. And sorry, Pedro has just popped up with a question about Business Lite. have the same rights like one business in Team Drive. Yeah, Pedro, it's a little bit difficult to get definitive information about Business Lite, but yes, essentially it's based on G Suite Business, but it's intended for organizations or users that are based outside an office, so remote users. So commercially it works out more cost effective. Is not available in every circumstance, and it's quite difficult to mix Business Lite with the G Suite Business, the full version. So if you've got a situation you want to discuss, then happy to talk through, and we can look at some of the options and give you advice where we can. I hope that helps. So thank you for attending, and thanks for your time. We'll look forward to working with you in the future, and look out for other events coming from G Suite Tips. Okay, thank you.